All right, guys, going to give just a quick clip on tensioning the mounting plate on the Western Prodigy plow. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts that hold this plate to the A-frame, which extends from here all the way to the other side. And what I've been able to tell here and I actually did take the mounting plate off, I'll call it the universal mounting plate. This is for a skid steer. I didn't put a straight edge on it, but it appears to be made in a crown fashion, so that the only contact points are at the center of rotation and this top oscillating part right here. You can't really tell on this top here so much, but this fitting right here behind it is slotted the same way these fittings are. There's just a much larger slot here than there is up on top here, because obviously this is a much longer radius and it needs greater movement to get 6 degrees. Western says this thing can oscillate 6 degrees. In order for it to oscillate, you have to tension these bolts. My machine came totally basically untouched by the dealer as far as setup goes, so I did the setup. And let me tell you, from the factory, these things come tight, so tight that they almost took the crown out of that piece. They weren't quite touching, but they were really hard to get off. So in order to properly tension them, it is designed again to really only contact at the center here. So this center rotating bolt, all these bolts they say should be hand tight. This one I went just slightly, that's the center bolt, I went just slightly beyond, nothing with, well, a little bit with a wrench, just a little taut. This one hand tight, this one hand tight, and the other one hand tight. You don't want to tighten it so tight that you close up. You can just see the shiny gap right there between that big old flat washer and the bolt. That's the only place it's designed to touch. The whole plate itself does not touch. So you tighten it up tight enough so that the bolt remains rigid. See, that right there is just a little bit too loose, because the bolt can sag, and what happens when it does that, it grabs the plate. So I need to go just a little bit more on that, and I might want to loosen up my other one, because this gap here is a little bigger than my other gap. Kind of hard to see. There's the contact point, and my gap just to the right of that is a little smaller, so I may need to let a little bit of this off to make these bolts evenly tension in the gaps even. And here's this bolt, and it doesn't go up and down, so that's kind of what you want. So here's the setup to tighten these doggone things. The head of this bolt over here is an inch and a half. Put your big wrench on there, and by the way, you really can't access this end bolt with the skid steer mounted. On this side, this inside nut is an inch and a half, but the lock nut is an inch and 7/16. So there's your setup. So as you're tensioning this nut here, you have to hold on to the wrench, okay? And then as you start to tighten the lock nut against this nut, having a claw foot is really handy. You can get a wrench onto this fitting here, or onto that nut, but when you try to do this one underneath, there isn't room to get a wrench on that unless you go underneath here and have another person hold it for you. So having the claw foot with a small extension to bring it out is really helpful, and that will set up basically the tension that you will need on your plow.